let's do a show tonight. Hello, Ali. Welcome. It's been a while since I've done anything like this. Let's get the static out of here. Hello. I am Michael Ringtail. You can see I'm a ringtail lemur. And this is Human Watch. Observing the human world as a non-human animal, myself. Sit back and get into the human world. If you're just coming around here, aside from this channel, you should subscribe to. We have this other channel here too, Crafty Arts. We do commentary and drawing pictures. At least that's what that Humie Crafty Andy likes to do. We also have a gaming channel for Squigs Weasel. We also have a store, Etsy Crafty Andy Arts. If you want to get some comics, stickers, art prints, like Luigi here. And if you want a discount there and some early access, well, we got a Patreon set up here. So let's right off the bat, let's just get right into it. I should tape this too. All right. Hey, Dalen, it's been a while too. Damn. Charges in your state got dropped. Have the answer for the other charges in Texas? Oh. Good. Yeah, the legal process is surprisingly slow. Few people I know are going through their own legal process with vehicles. It takes forever. It's been almost a year trying to get a vehicle undone. Can't give away too many details, but that's how it's going to be. So, Charlie Kirk, assassinated by this fellow, supposedly, allegedly, Tyler Robinson. I got my notes. Is there my notes? Where's my notes? There's my notes. As far as we know, he was raised in Utah in a Mormon family. Father was a sheriff. His father is the one that turned him in, and that doesn't stop them from getting death threats. Figure that out. Father reportedly contacted a family friend who informed the sheriff's office. At press briefing on Friday, announcing the arrest, FBI officials declined to discuss Mr. Robinson's background, political leanings, or possible motive, saying the investigation was ongoing. Relative also said that during a dinner conversation before the attack, Mr. Robertson had stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate, and mentioned Kirk's upcoming event in Utah Valley. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had, Cox said, referring to the conversation. Public records review by the BBC suggests Mr. Robinson had in the past registered as an unaffiliated or nonpartisan voter in Utah. Matthew Carl Robinson, the suspect's father, and Amber Dennis Robinson, the suspect's mother, are registered Republicans. Mr. Robinson was not enrolled at UVU, the site of the shooting. Records reviewed by BBC verify suggests he attended Utah State University in Logan for a single semester in 2021, possibly studying engineering. Ah, yes, the most woke of the trades, engineering. That will surely radicalize you into an Antifa soldier, if anything else would. A photograph from that year shows him standing in front of the university sign holding an acceptance letter. So, I thought this was interesting too. Our good buddy here, call him Charlie, Kyle Kalinske, broke on it.
All right, guys, got some big breaking news here for you. So the Charlie Kirk shooter has been found. It's being reported that it's 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, and I want to go ahead and walk you through what we know at this point about this guy. So first of all, let me just say, the way that they found him, literally...
Yeah, we just saw that.
You know, they seem to be a very close family. They go fishing together. They do all these different things together. One recurring theme that you see all over the place on their social media is that this was as big of a gun family as you can get. Tyler was clearly introduced to guns at a very, very early age, and clearly he's a proficient shot, needless to say. And there's pictures of him with all kinds of firearms. Some of the biggest firearms I've ever seen, he has pictures with. So definitely, without a doubt, from this like gun culture, there's no denying that. And now you have, I think some of the family members are scrubbing their social media of the pictures with him because, and we'll get to this later, but they're getting a lot of hate right now, and people are castigating and berating the family, even though it was the family that turned in Tyler. So
a peaceful right in action.
Get into some of the specific motives. So Tyler Robinson, I'm seeing contradictory information at the moment, and that is not surprising because with a name like Tyler Robinson, there's probably like hundreds of thousands of them in this country.
Yes.
But some of the reporting is indicating for sure from that is internet brain rot to the max.
So I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly he wrote some memes, internet memes on the cartridges, which would just suggest that he's just internet brain damage, right? Internet brain damage human, and inundated with memes to the point where he's putting Helldivers 2 references on some of these things.
Wall Street Journal, and I showed you this report, and I cast a doubt on it immediately, and I was right to cast doubt on it. But the Wall Street Journal reported, oh, there was trans stuff on the bullets. Well, that came from like some ATF person who gave it to Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder released it. The Wall Street Journal picked it up. It turns out that's not true at all. It wasn't true at all. And by the way, 4chan had like 3 or 4 different people that they convinced themselves, oh, this is the shooter. And most of these
once
people
again, 4chan
were trans, and they weren't the shooter. And so they had no problem doxing these innocent people, innocent trans people, accusing them of being the shooter. And
because if they get one thing right about a human, that means they're going to get every human right whenever they point out someone and say, this is the person that did it.
Moment, because how many people are going to think, oh, this was the shooter? And so people getting ahead of themselves with these things, that is not good, man. That is percentile.
Yeah.
His grades and stuff up. He did great on the ACT. He had a 4.0 GPA. He's in like the worst of any of his grades, I believe, is he's in like the 96th percentile in science. That's the worst of it. Everything else, math, writing, reading, it's like 100th percentile, 99th percentile. So he is clearly very bright. I see some speculation. Ideologically aligned, really the...
Oh, yep. Oh, yeah, this one.
Heart or mental issues. As Christians, we should pray for him. Stochastic terrorism, they caused this. So that's what they were saying beforehand. Here's what
here's what they were saying. Here's what a bunch of these people were saying beforehand. Before they found out who the shooter was, they already declared him to be a trans lefty lunatic.
Forney, a conservative guy, who said, Charlie Kirk being assassinated is the American right. Remember, we read this on the show yesterday, but there's this guy, Matt Forney, a conservative guy, who said, Charlie Kirk being assassinated is the American Reichstag fire. It's time for a complete crackdown on the left. Every Democratic politician must be arrested and the party banned under RICO. Every libtard commentator must be shut down. Stochastic terrorism, they caused this. So that's what they were saying beforehand. Here's what the right-wingers are saying afterwards. I'm not celebrating anything. This doesn't bring Charlie back. Clearly, this young man has some sort of problem, whether it be evil in his heart or mental issues. As Christians, we should pray for him, and that's what Charlie would want us to do.
Oh.
So when it's not a trans person, when it's not a black person, when it's not a brown person, when it's not an immigrant, all of a sudden it goes, war, we demand war and blood. It goes from that to, well, I'm going to say some prayers for him because clearly he has some issues that he needs to work through. Are you fucking kidding? These people are too predictable.
Too predictable. I haven't seen this one yet, so let's see what this is about.
I understand that we have the neighbor of Tyler Robinson who are ready to speak with us. Miss Kristen Schwerman, can you hear me okay this morning?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Tyler. How well did you know him?
Tyler went to the school I was a head custodian at. I was at that school for 18 years. I know all 3 of his brothers also.
And one thing I want to ask you, is this something, I'm so sorry to cut you off, is this something consistent with who you know him to be?
No, no, the kid was smart, quiet, he never caused any problems.
Are you shocked by this?
It was a shock.
I would say so.
Yes, I am shocked. Very shocked.
What can you tell him about us? I mean, excuse me, what can you tell us about Tyler Robinson? You said you've known him for quite some time, as well as his siblings. Any kind of
it's very typical in a lot of these human suburbs when they're upper class, middle class. Not a lot of connection with the neighbors usually. I definitely can relate, even being raised as a cub myself in one of these upper class suburbs. I couldn't tell you the names of anyone on my block that I lived with in the entire 20 years I was there.
Characteristics or anything that you could tell us and share about him?
You know what I know about Tyler is he was always very quiet. He was very smart. He had just a real mellow personality. Never caused any problems. He, like I said, he was smart and he kept to himself, and I don't know who his friends were as of now.
Is there any chatter in your neighborhood right now? I know you said you're shocked. Are neighbors having any conversation about Tyler?
Everyone's just complaining about the fucking reporters.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. I haven't been out too much this morning. I've talked to a few people, but those people haven't lived here long enough. I've lived in the neighborhood for 16 years, just as long as they have, and I'm sure everybody in the neighborhood's shocked because most of these people have been here forever and know him as...
All right, so we're not getting anything out of her, that's for sure. All right, well, you know, before the shooter was ever identified, there was just an ungodly amount of violence being called by a lot of these people. And these aren't just randos on Twitter. These are prominent figures such as Elon Musk, Matt Walsh, libs of TikTok, which is for some reason important to a lot of these weird humans. Let's bring this up here. Let's see. Window capture. Where is it? There it is. Thanks for that. Should have had that ready earlier. But there we go. Let's zoom in on this. Oh, let's see. Libs of TikTok. This is why. John Mannarino. The Democrat Party must be classified as domestic terror organization and their members' leaders treated accordingly. Enough is enough. So you call on for their execution? They've declared war. Who's they? Who knows? There's no going back after this. There's no more words to be said. The only way this ends is the complete annihilation of the Democrat Party. Charlie Kirk has been shot. Enough is enough. Democrats need to be labeled as a terrorist organization. This is, again, the assumption. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter what the truth is. All that matters is now they have their excuse. Could be Satan himself, and they'd still have their excuse. I don't want the National Guard sent to Democrat cities anymore. I want the Air Force sent. So basically making a death threat against anyone who lives in blue-leaning cities. So that's a death threat right there. Someone should look into him. When Democrats lose elections, they couldn't steal. They murder the people they were unable to defeat. Yes, the history of your liberal, conservative Democrats assassinating conservative Republicans when their economic interests align. The only thing they have different amongst themselves, each other, is mainly social issues. And that's about it. Elon Musk. They won't leave us in peace. Actually, I should try to talk more like Elon. If they won't leave us in peace, then our choice is to fight or die. The left is the party of murder. What else we got here? Oh, the Democrat Party is a domestic terrorist organization whose most fanatics will not hesitate to murder their political opponents. This was not a one-off event. Last time the radical left orchestrated a wave of violence and terror, J. Edgar Hoover shut it all down within a few years. It is time, within the confines of the law, to infiltrate, disrupt, arrest, and incarcerate all those who are responsible for this chaos. Charlie Kirk being assassinated is the American Reichstag fire. It is time for a complete crackdown on the left. Every Democratic politician must be arrested and the party banned under RICO. Every libtard commentary must be shut down. Stochastic terrorism, they caused this. Laura Loomer. It's time for the Trump administration to shut down, defund, and prosecute every single leftist organization. What leftist organization? Because the Democrats are not leftists. Charlie Kirk dies from his injuries. This life cannot be in vain. We must shut all these lunatic leftists down once and for all. The left is a national security threat. Ah, yes, the peaceful anti-war left. Anti-war right. Jesse Waters. They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. What are we going to do about it? Again, another call for violence. Who was calling for the death of Charlie Kirk? Because no one was. None of these fucking commentators. No Democrats were. No prominent leftists on the internet who relies on donations through streaming was doing that. So you know, what do you got? You got nothing? Is it nothing? Is that what we got?
On June 28th of 1914, Gavrilo Princip murdered the then Archduke of Austria-Hungary named Franz Ferdinand. Within a month, by July 28th, Austria-Hungary had declared war on Bosnia because they wouldn't accept all of their terms. This set off a chain reaction of alliances that eventually led to World War I. You notice how, even though we do not have a suspect in custody for Charlie Kirk, we do not have a motive, they are already blaming the radical left and saying, to quote Laura Loomer, that we should use the power of the state to exterminate the left. They are already declaring war even though there is no suspect. This is the excuse that they've been waiting for. This is the response they were hoping to get by Trump's faked assassination attempt, and now that Charlie Kirk is dead, they will weaponize this to use the military, the National Guard, statewide force, and censorship against anyone who does not agree with them. They have been waiting for this moment, and it does not matter what the truth is, they will not accept it, because they want to paint the...
And this is how I, for the most part, figured that whoever did this was not really likely a dedicated leftist, because most people know better than to do anything like what happened to Charlie, because as this person's explaining, this is what happens afterwards.
The left as the violent group, even though we're not the ones that committed the insurrection on January 6th, erected a gallows for Mike Pence when he wouldn't do what they wanted him to do.
Yeah, which side of the political aisle was calling for Mike Pence to be hung? Can any humans out there remember? Can any humans out there recall which side of that political aisle of yours was calling for Mike Pence to be hung? I mean, you know, if you got anything different, you can let me know. Uh-oh. I see. I need to grab something real quick here. Apologize. One moment. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Sorry about that. Just had to do a quick sound test here. There we go. Alrighty. Make sure everything's leveled out. If anything comes up. All right, we're back. Alrighty.
And also, the same group of people that said last year, according to Stephen Miller, that the Second American Revolution will remain bloodless if the left allows it. It doesn't matter who did this, or conveniently that it was done the day before September 11th so they can paint it as terrorism. And the same right-wingers that are losing their fucking shit over this right now, and how dare you not be sympathetic to this person who was actively promoting harm. They are the same people who did not say a word when Melissa Hortman and her husband were assassinated in their home by someone who impersonated an officer, had a manifesto about murdering Democratic representatives, had stalked these people, and had essentially an expose on them in his car and in his home. They didn't say a word.
Nope. And they, a lot of people online just declared that assassin in Minnesota, that human assassin, as another leftist. That's what they did. That's how they operate.
No flags at half-mast. No thoughts and prayers. No, we need to do something about this. There's no space for political violence. None of that. Because it doesn't matter. The double standard is clear. The hypocrisy is clear. They don't care. At the, oh, how dare you? They didn't say a word when Melissa Hortman was killed. They don't actually care about this. They care about using it as a weapon to silence people who oppose them. And it is a great way to reunify a group that was fracturing over not releasing the Epstein files. And again, right before
all
September 11th,
those are gone.
You get to paint it as terrorism, and now you get to use emergency military powers to go after people you don't like. This will escalate violence faster than anything we've seen since January 20th up to this point. And it happened.
Yep.
I've never been so pissed in my whole life. I just murdered Charlie Kirk right here. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. Where the hell? God damn it! I'm so pissed. Damn it!
They're lighten the mood. Your pedophile president funds a genocide. This is normal for your administration. Calm down, man-child. Can't disagree with that, right? Thanks, Zazbo TV. Oh, here we go. TJ, Kirk.
Let me tell you something. The left. When all of you got together and decided as a collective to murder poor innocent Charlie Kirk, you done made a mistake, boy. You done made you a terrible, fatal error. And there will be recompense. Oh, yeah. You know, you don't know what's coming. You thought
so many videos like this.
Right,
so many videos like this.
Demure little sweethearts to you all this time that we was just gonna take you killing poor, innocent, saintly Charlie Kirk. You thought we was just gonna take that in stride.
He was so angelic-like.
Well, you was wrong. Because there's a storm a-coming. Hey, it's gonna be civil war. And we got all the guns. Well, I guess you had that one gun you used to kill Charlie Kirk, but I'm pretty sure that's the only gun you got. And now...
As far as I know, that's the only gun the human left's got. Yeah. They got nothing.
What's coming?
I think one comment summed it up. It's accurate up until the point you use the word recompense. That is a word not many southern hillbilly humans know.
Confrontations.
But here we go.
So, my dear beloved cousin Charlie Kirk has been prematurely shuffled off this mortal coil by an assassin's bullet. I spent 4 hours today covering the situation as it unfolded on a special impromptu edition of Onion Nuggets, which I will link down below. but I find that I have more to say than I said there. Let me start by saying that I detest the sheer amount of right-wingers currently spewing vitriol and threats at the left when it is not entirely clear as of this moment, when I write these words, that anyone from the left had anything to do with this act of political violence.
Do you think any of these humans calling for the left's heads and Democrats and murdering trans people, do you think they're ever going to come out and apologize? Do you think any of those people that we looked at are going to apologize? Oh, let's see if there's any more here. Do we have any more? Let's see what we got here. Hold on, let me pull this up. I think we got a few more images actually. Those are memes. We'll save those for later. Here we go. Yep. Okay, we got a few more. You think they're going to apologize for some of this stuff here? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Ha ha ha, you guys are going to love what comes next. Hug all your queer friends while you can. This person says, you'll do nothing. Fuck off. And that same person above responds saying, your friends are going to die. Lovely human being. What's next here? Oh, here we go. I don't want to accidentally spoil anything, but here we go. Asmongold's Charlie tweet is catching a lot of attention from all sides of Twitter. Some are calling him a hypocrite and pointing out past events. Let's see here. Less than a year ago, you said that Muslim people deserve to be genocided. You said you wanted to kill me. Oh, let's see. Society, this is Asmongold, everyone's favorite streaming lolcow. Society would be instantly and dramatically improved if we took down the bottom 5 to 10% most retarded kids out of school and put them in the coal mines instead. Almost all Western cultural problems are derived from adherence to the false god of equality. Yes. Equality means that everyone is of the same status despite intelligent capabilities and physical abilities and things of that nature. That's how it works. That's what equality means. It doesn't mean you have the same laws and rights as everybody. No. It just means that you're somehow elevated to the same status. You know, the person that can't do medical science is still able to become a doctor because they want to. That's how it's supposed to work. Anyone surprised that what happened to Charlie Kirk hasn't been paying attention? Go anywhere, Reddit, Twitter, etc. You'll find thousands of unhinged direct calls to violence. Okay. Anyway, yep. Less than a year ago, you said that Muslim people deserve to be genocided. Exactly. Oh, 100 rounder ready. The reckoning has begun. No quarter, it's time we put the left under our boots once and for all. Oh, okay, so another call for violence from a supposedly peaceful right-winger. Maybe it's time to shot back. They want civil war. They have nothing else. Who is next? Charlie Kirk was peaceful and a great guy. No reason for this. I'm 100% radicalized by the Charlie murder. No more tolerance. We need to start building chapters in every state across the entire United States. Everyone is really pissed off, and we're ready to do something. Not sure what that is, but it's something. It's not a time for violence, but I think we should be fully capable of showing up ready to commit violence. Oh, you mean like what you've been doing since forever? Got it. Oh, what's this? Oh, is this a chart of the amount of right-wing violence committed on people? Interesting. Melissa Hortman shooting at their homes. Josh Shapiro, arson of home. Joe Biden, White House U-Haul truck. Nancy Pelosi, home break-in. Gretchen Whitmer, kidnapping plot. Esther Sales shooting at home. Obama, Biden, Clinton, mail bombs. Clementa Pinky shooting at church. Barack Obama, militia bomb plot. Gabby Gilford shooting at campaign rally. Donald Trump, scout at golf course. Donald Trump shooting at campaign rally. Brett Kavanaugh, scout at home. There's your blue. Mike Pence, January 6th. We all know. Steve Scaley shooting at a baseball game. There's your blue. Donald Trump tried to grab an officer's gun. Event. There's another blue there, I guess. No, that's about it. Last 20 years. We got here. I don't care, you brown fuck. What the fuck you gonna do, bitch? We are gonna fucking kill you with JD Vance right there. So, once again, credible threat to violence. Just an outright death threat, right? I mean, is this not a death threat? If I sent this to anyone, especially an official, this would be a death threat. So, Jet Neptune, Respector, there's his Twitter. Death threat. These pieces of shit got the same mental problems as the murderous trash that killed our Rana. And they're proud of it. They're proud to spread hate and violence. Burn them alive. Holy shit, kill all Foids. Don't know what he means by that.
People like Laura Loomer, who tweeted, "It's time for the Trump administration to shut down, defund, and prosecute every single leftist organization. If Charlie Kirk dies from his injuries, his life cannot be in vain. We must shut these lunatic leftists down once and for all. The left is a national security threat." Or like Elon Musk, who said,
"Yeah, we know that.
The left is not a party. The left doesn't even have a party in this country." Or this guy, whoever the fuck he is.
This video's in regards to Charlie Kirk. And this video's for the fucking liberals. It's war, motherfuckers. We're coming for you. We're
another credible threat.
Coming for you. And spare me your fucking self-righteous bullshit lectures. I don't give a fuck. We're coming for you.
Let's be.
Who's we and who are you coming for exactly? Do you think it's like a collective? Do you think that everyone organized like a meeting? They didn't include any furries like me. Stream title? What should the stream title be? How about of hate and murder? Let's correct that there. You're right. It should just be hate and murder. There we go. Thanks, Obunga. Thanks for the suggestion. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Be clear. At this juncture, there is absolutely no evidence that the shooter was a leftist or a liberal. There existed extreme animosity between Nick Fuentes and his Groyper army and Charlie Kirk and his Turning Point USA. Though it's worth noting that Nick made sure to pay tribute at the altar of Kirk today.
Plausible deniability. Got to do that.
There are certainly other factions on the right who viewed Charlie Kirk negatively as well. And lest we forget, the would-be Trump assassin turned out to be a registered Republican, not some radical leftist stormtrooper. Reality is often more complicated than reactionary morons attempt to portray it. It is also possible that the motives of the shooter are entirely apolitical, such as when John Hinckley Jr. shot Ronald Reagan to impress Jodie Foster back in 1981. Hinckley was not trying to bring down
I guess Obama just wanted to come in here and say that and leave.
Topple the GOP or signal allegiance to any political movement. He was trying to get the attention of an actress. The most powerful man on earth was nearly killed because a deeply disturbed guy wanted to impress a woman who didn't even know him.
Yep.
The motives of violent people
and yet,
often
let me see if I can find any more.
The neat ideological coherence that commentators love to paste over them. That all being said, it is, of course, entirely possible that Kirk was targeted by a left-wing extremist. But that possibility does not justify the rush to hang this crime like a scalp on the belt of the American left before Kirk's body is even cold. If the assassin turns out to be politically motivated, then the facts should speak for themselves. But until then, what we're witnessing is nothing more than naked political opportunism. Another
Just like with
line of
9/11.
rhetoric to emerge from the chaos of today's events is this lie of Charlie Kirk, the moderate. Charlie Kirk may not have been the fringiest of the fringe, but moderates don't condone stoning gay people to death.
Oh yeah, we're going to get into his whitewashing that a lot of humans are trying to do right now, and they're trying to make him look better than what he was. We'll get into I got things lined up here. Don't worry. But we gotta go. I want to go through this though. I think the more we boost this is better.
In the following clip,
is in Leviticus 18, is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death. Just saying. So, Miss Rachel, you quote Leviticus 19, love your neighbor as yourself. The chapter before affirms God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matter.
God's perfect law. I think a lot of people need to emphasize that. Like, how these people operate, they always have to have a plausible deniability, right? They can never call direct violence, but they can always plant those seeds. In this case, God's perfect law states that gay people should be stoned to death. It's his perfect law. You're going to go against God's law. That's why we have to advocate and resist and roll back the marriage rights of gay people and strip them of any kind of upward mobility. Get them out of the jobs, which is already happening, by the way. A lot of tradesmen who happen to be queer are quitting their line of work because of harassment, because they don't feel safe, because of threats from people on the conservative right, long before Charlie Kirk even opened his fucking mouth.
Now, I am being told, as a bisexual man with LGBT friends and family members, that I am a bad person for not mourning the death of a man who used his platform to push for the death of myself, of my friends, of my family, as a matter of public policy. Charlie Kirk thought women and girls should be forced to carry their rapist baby to term. He supported the brutal Israeli genocide in Gaza so strongly that Netanyahu himself publicly mourned his passing.
Let's jump onto that rapist baby thing too, because he was in favor of the 10-year-old who got raped in Ohio, and he was in support of her having a baby. When at that age, having a baby would, just the growing part of it itself would destroy you at that age. I can't remember exactly all the details, but your hips do not have the support at that age. You're still developing. Even if it got to term, the likelihood of birth defects is very high, assuming that person could live up until that point. And there's also a chance that the baby may not even survive the entire process of growing that way. And Charlie Kirk's in favor of that. Mr. Pro-life, pro-suffering. That's what he is.
I won't even get into
pro-suffering.
His hatred of trans people, black people, immigrants, and so forth. Because I'd be here all night throwing citations at you.
Oh, we'll be here all night.
Charlie Kirk was not a moderate. He was not compassionate or kind. And despite what the revisionists would have you believe, he did not value open dialogue.
No.
He valued carefully cultivated confrontations with soft targets that he could easily edit to fit his narrative. He valued lazy, gotcha politics, infotainment slop designed to pump up right-wingers who exist in the gravitational pull of his hug box. I've noticed a great many left and lib commentators and politicians spewing this repulsive line today. This line of, I may not have agreed with Charlie Kirk, but blah, blah, blah. And I want to let you know that you will absolutely not hear that soulless drivel pouring forth from my mouth.
Damn straight.
Especially not for a man who believed this about gun violence.
So we need to be very clear.
that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools.
Oh, you mean like the shooter had? The shooter had a father at home. The shooter was raised by a law-abiding citizen who believed in Mormonism?
We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. Wow. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody...
yes, the brilliant man thinking that your rights come from God. Okay, what about the right to not be enslaved, the right not to be murdered, the right to, you know, not have your rights taken away simply because you don't have as much money as the next person? You know, what about those rights? Are those, did God not have any say in those?
Talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.
As far as I'm concerned, Charlie himself viewed his own grisly demise as nothing more than the price of freedom. It's worth noting, by the way, that these right-wing ghouls who are trying to make you feel bad for Charlie Kirk because he had children spent the entire day ignoring the actual school shooting that happened in Colorado, just as they have ignored or hand-waved away every school shooting that has happened in this country since I was a school kid myself. I'm not going to spend much more time on this video. I spoke about this event at length earlier today. Let me just summarize my feelings thusly. I will not waste empathy on a person who reviled empathy.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
I will not cry for the shooting death of a person who dismissed the shooting deaths of others. I will not mourn the concept of a moderate who never existed. I will not cry at the grave of a person who wanted me and people I love dead. And I will not pretend for a single second that I view what happened today as a tragedy. And I will not feed you some empty platitude about how I condemn political violence as I read countless tweets from right-wingers who are threatening leftists with political violence as we speak. I will conclude this by saying, if you find the events of today surprising in any way, then you must be utterly devoid of any sense of connection with the zeitgeist of this nation. What happened today is not an aberration. It is the logical culmination of the trajectory we've been on for decades. America is a pressure cooker, sealed tight, rattling, and hissing. And every so often, the steam bursts out in the form of bullets and blood. We live in a culture where violence is fetishized, where political rhetoric is militarized, where owning your enemies is worth more than understanding your neighbors. To be shocked by this is to admit you've been sleepwalking through the unraveling of our civic fabric. Charlie Kirk did not cause that unraveling, but he certainly profited from it. He stoked it, cultivated it, and branded it patriotism. He helped raise an army of kids whose political education consisted of heckling the libs and cheering cruelty as strength. To call his death surprising would be to call fire surprising in a room full of oily rags and open flames. So no, I will not offer contrived mourning, nor will I feign horror that one of the architects of this climate was consumed by it. If you want to call it a tragedy, then call it what it truly is. Not the tragedy of Charlie Kirk, but the tragedy of a nation that has come to make this inevitable.
And normal. That's the next thing. They're going to try to make this kind of political violence normal. It's not. I should say it's not. It's normal for all the minorities, they're already affected by political violence, but it's only bad when it happens to them. Now it's important. Now all of a sudden it's important. You know, there's a reason why ultimately the right wing is responsible for Charlie Kirk's death. I mean, this could have all been avoided. Apparently, you know, some kids could have had their father still. Wife could have had their husband. She wouldn't have been a widow. If the government just did its job, the human American government, first they should have shut down Turning Point USA, arrest Charlie Kirk for his hate speech, as we just witnessed earlier, threatening gay people with death, with a wink wink and a wink wink nod sort of way. Yeah, first of all, there should already be in place, but there isn't in place. So let's pretend that there is an effort to actually re-educate them in this country, because let's pretend people actually give a shit about reforming their criminals into someone who's productive in society, rather than just putting them in a box and punishment and then unleashing them back on society and then act confused and surprised that they'd all of a sudden don't become CEOs afterwards. What we got here? Okay. I got some quotes. I got some quotes from good old Charlie here. On race. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. In reference to DEI. As if your black humans and white humans don't go through the same classes and the same tests. Is a certified pilot not certified? When you get your certification as a pilot or a doctor, is there like a certain level? If you're certified, right? You don't like pass the test harder than someone else. They don't nitpick that sort of thing. They just want to know you got your degree when it comes to hiring. If you're in if you're a WNBA, pot-smoking black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine? Probably not. Happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. Oh, is it? Is it? A bunch of black people just prowling around the dark looking for white people to target. This is our moderate. This is a moderate human when it comes to the treatment of his other species. Okay. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder if she's there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? Yes, the demon affirmative action. You know, something that was in response to racism. Because as it turns out, despite the desegregation and the Civil Rights Act that made it illegal to discriminate based on race, all that happens is that people hiring for positions will just make up any excuse they can to not hire a black-skinned human. Even though they're the same species, you think they would realize at some point that they're all the fucking same, but they don't. They're just ridiculous like that. I think my camera just died. Oh, there we go. We're back. If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Shayla Jackson, Lee and Kengia Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. Now they're coming out and they're saying it's for us. You do not have the brain processing power, otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Which white person? Which white person was supposed to be in their spot? Anyways, get back to this racist shit. So affirmative action was some limp wrist effort to get employers to at least hire one or two qualified woman or black person, so they could be like, hey, we're not racist. We got at least one black person working in our company. I mean, he's 1 out of 30. And as soon as we find a good reason, we'll fire him. But hey, you know, we're not racist. On debate. We record all of it so that we put it on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity. Oh, kind of like your side labels the opposing viewpoint as evil. You label abortion as murder. You label gay people living as degenerate and undeserving. It's almost like there's certain things that should not be debated when it comes to the treatment of other human beings. Oh, what else we got here? We've seen the gun violence one. Immigration. America was at its peak when we halted immigration for 40 years and we dropped out of our foreign-born percentage to its lowest level ever. We should be unafraid to do that. In what reference? Because history shows that immigrants actually helped the economy grow, but the Great Pause and mass immigration lasted for approximately 40 years, and ending with the passage of the Immigration Nationality Act of 1965, which repealed the discriminatory quotas. Excuse me. Also, during a time when the corporate tax rate was 80 to 90%. But he won't want to return to that, though. There's no oh, here we go. There's no separation of church and state. It's a fabrication. It's a fiction. It's not in the Constitution. It's made up by secular humanists. Ah, yes, you know. Humanists. The idea that humans should be treated all on the same level when it comes to their governments and policies and laws. Such an evil position to take. This is our moderate. Moderate my lemur ass. But, you know, let's go into some political violence. Because, you know, there's all these talks around. Like, in fact, if I go to Threads, let's just go to Threads. It's been my favorite area here. Let's go to the feed. Memory Charlie Kirk, let's put a bomb in the tank shell. Yeah, that one's for you, Charlie. They're going to kill some Palestinian children. Cool. Only demons celebrate murder as they celebrate the murder of Palestinian children. The left doesn't know it yet, but 1 million more Charlie Kirks have been created. Ah, yes. That is the one bad thing that we can mention about an assassination of this. What it should lead to is people like him not being platformed and given money because we don't want to see any more violence. Because they inspire violence, and then violence happens to them. There you go. But that's not going to happen. What we're going to likely see is the human society become even more theocratic, authoritarian, and they're going to get their Sharia law, Christian law that they always fight for. They always demand. Let's put a Charlie Kirk statue. Oh, yeah. The one who's inspired a number of murders over the years. Let's put a statue about him on there. On the campus. We're all Charlie Kirk now. Yep, we're all a bunch of fucking hateful bigots that want to kill you if you're brown or gay. There you go. Label Antifa. It's there. Anti-fascism is a action, not a group. Sorry. To be against fascism is somehow bad to these people. People killed all because of words, and they put Jesus there as if he was a real human being. Charlie Kirk again would have called someone like MLK a radical, especially as MLK got into the realm of reparations before his assassination. Oh, there's his Trump t-shirt. That's cute. You don't get assassinated for lying. Okay, sure, yeah, sure thing. That's not how it works. How many black? There we go. I got something. How many black people? But yeah, they're all venerating this this piece of shit who inspired countless violent acts. Oh, including this person here. Let's see here. Where's that video? I got a nice little video for us to watch here real quick. I had to download it because it was in line to possibly be deleted. Here we go. Well, he's right about one thing. We are living under corporate control, but this person doesn't realize that billionaires are the ones that funded Charlie Kirk and made him a millionaire. Let's get rid of this pic here. There we go. All right. Let's listen to this fellow speak.
We're living under corporate and medical fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not. That's not a joke.
He's waiting for Charlie Kirk to give him the go-ahead to murder some people.
Not saying it like that. I mean, literally.
This is the type of person he inspires.
Where's the line? How many elections are there?
What are you going to do? You going to kill a bunch of fucking doctors? Is that your pro-life position? Killing doctors?
They're going to steal before we kill these people.
So, no. No, hold on.
Prove that they stole
stop.
it. What's your proof?
Now,
Nothing?
I'm going to denounce that and tell you why. Because you're playing into all their plans, and they're trying to make you do this. That's okay. Just hear me out. You started with a compliment, so at least give me a little bit. They are trying to provoke you and everyone here. They are trying to make you do something that will be violent, that will justify a takeover of your freedoms and liberties, the likes of which we have never seen. We are close to...
And now they're going to do that. They're already doing that now, right? Except it's the opposite way.
Hold on.
Even though the person that shot this person wasn't even fucking left.
We are close to have momentum to be able to get this country back on a trajectory using the peaceful means that we have.
A trajectory. Trajectory towards what? A universal health care? A standardized living wage? Subsidized housing and getting rid of landlords? Can we go to that trajectory? Can we do that? Are we going to do that as your human society? I mean, you know, I may be a lemur, but quality of life of humans kind of affects their ability to help feed me.
At us. So to answer your question, and I just think it's, you know, overly blunt, we have to be the ones that do not play into the violent aims and ambitions of the other side.
All right, so what's all this call for violence then from the right wing now? Oh, well, actually, before your murder, what was all that gallows shit with Mike Pence? Seems like there's a double standard at play here. Anywho, let's get into some, let's see, the left are the ones that are violent. Okay.
To recent acts of right-wing violence, like the Jacksonville Dollar General shooting, 3 killed by a white supremacist. The Allen, Texas outlet mall shooting, 7 wounded, 8 killed by a neo-Nazi white supremacist. The Buffalo supermarket shooting, 3 wounded, 10 killed by a white supremacist. The Boogaloo murders of Oakland and Santa Cruz, 3 wounded, 2 killed. The El Paso Walmart shooting, 26 wounded, 22 killed by an anti-immigrant white nationalist. The Poway synagogue shooting, 3 wounded, 1 killed by an anti-Semitic racist. The
Look into any of these people and tell me if he's wrong.
Jeffersontown Kroger shooting, 2 killed by an anti-black racist. The murder of Robert Miller, a black man burned by a white supremacist. The Pittsburgh synagogue shooting, 7 wounded, 11 killed by a white supremacist anti-Semite. The murder of Blaze Bernstein, killed for being gay. The murder of Michonne Cooper Williams, a black woman stabbed to death by a white supremacist. The murders of Danny and Deanna Lorenzo, killed by neo-Nazis. The murder of Richard Collins III, who was stabbed to death by a neo-Nazi. The car ramming attack at the Unite the Right rally, 28 wounded, 1 killed by a neo-Nazi white supremacist. The Portland train attack, 1 wounded, 2 killed by a neo-Nazi white nationalist. The murder of Timothy Kaufman, stabbed to death by an anti-black racist. The train wreck movie shooting, 9 wounded, 2 killed by a neo-Nazi white supremacist. The Colorado Springs Planned Parenthood shooting, 9 wounded, 3 killed by an anti-abortion Christian extremist. The Charleston church shooting, 1 wounded, 9 killed by a white supremacist. Those are just some of the right-wing killings of the last decade in the United States alone. Several of the more recent killers on that list said that they were inspired by the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand, which resulted in 89 wounded and 51 killed by an anti-immigration white supremacist. That man and several of the more recent killers cited various right-wing influencers as inspiration, usually the ones fear-mongering about communism, cultural Marxism, and white replacement. There is no recent equivalent of this level of political murder on the left, and leftists could easily bring up these many anecdotes of deadly hate crimes over and over and over again. But why doesn't that happen? Because they aren't compelled by anecdotes, and they know that these murderers don't speak for the millions of conservatives out there who are not murdering people.
Yep. But according to some of these right-wing influencers, nope. One person does it. It's the policy. It's the policy of that human group. The rhetoric. It's the ideology. Gotta love it. It's too bad old Bungo couldn't stay here for a little more chat. I guess they're just scared off. You know. I mean, cowards are afraid of the truth. Charlie Kirk once said passing the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. Turning Point USA CEO and co-founder Charlie Kirk once said, "We've made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s." Correct. Journalist William Turton first reported on Kirk's comments in January 2024, article for Wired. According to Turton's report, Kirk made the statement while speaking at America's Fest, a political convention organized by Turning Point USA. Turton provided an audio recording to Snopes, which verified that Kirk said the quote about the Civil Rights Act. Following the September 10th, 2025 shooting death of Turning Point CEO and co-founder Charlie Kirk, people on social media shared an alleged statement he made about the passage of the Civil Rights Act. Landmark federal law banned discrimination in public spaces, provided for the integration of schools and other public spaces, and made employment discrimination illegal. And Charlie Kirk, good old moderate human Charlie Kirk, said that was a mistake. Things to remember about Charlie Kirk. He said it was a huge mistake. Yep. He blamed Jewish money for ruining American culture. He said gay people are destructive and endorsed having them put to death. He said the Second Amendment is worth the cost of some gun deaths. No one should be shot, not even Charlie Kirk, but it doesn't change the fact that he made a profitable career out of spreading hate towards his fellow Americans, and ultimately, I would add, he was swallowed up by that hate he cultivated. I don't see anyone coming in here to refute. Trump ally Charlie Kirk suggests children should watch public executions. I would play the video on here, but I think even a small channel like mine would get nicked for that. Charlie Kirk, founder and president of the conservative organization Turning Point USA, suggested in a recent episode of the Charlie Kirk Show that children should watch public executions. Yes, pro-life Charlie Kirk. Because when it comes to the state-sanctioned murdered, whenever you do the death penalty, as they're calling for the shooter of Charlie Kirk, by the way, that unmurders the victims, that unrapes the victims whenever they're raped. You know, whenever you execute a person, whenever you murder a person, that just undoes everything that they did. Right? That's how the death penalty works. What we got here? Thought crime. Kirk was discussing death penalties of those convicted of crimes, adding that not only does he believe there should be public executions, but that children should watch them. Oh, you mean like all those lynchings I used to do? Remember those? Remember those? You ever read up on those lynchings? There was over 5,000 reported lynchings that went on mainly in the South. Focused mostly on black people. Often they would cut off their junk. They'd take off his manhood before setting him on fire, cutting pieces off of them, ears, fingers, toes. Put them on display for the kids to see. It was a festive event whenever a lynching was happening. You ever wonder why there's so many black people that live in inner cities? It's because a lot of their parents, grandparents, were refugees escaping the South, threatening them with violence. Racially charged violence. I think, as Charlie Kirk said, I think it should be taken in a holy way. And I don't mean holy in a bad way. I mean that this is heavy. What the fuck does that even mean? What does that mean, Charlie? I wish I could ask you right now, but not very talkative at this point. So when did people call for the execution of Charlie Kirk? Is it not a death threat when... So, is it not a death threat when someone comes at you with a gun or political legislation? Let's say, for example, hypothetically, imagine this. If you have the capability of imagination, all right? If white, straight Christians were a minority and someone proposed a bill that got to the point it would be voted on to ban your ability to marry, to hold certain career positions, adoption, everything short of state-sanctioned murder. Would you not see that as a threat to your livelihood? Even your life itself. Since it would further solidify that you are not quite a human animal. What's worse than the state killing you for your existence? I would say possibly making you destitute in a capitalist society that will let you starve to death. Where money is God. Money and control is your God. So when someone like Charlie, or anyone else, proposes the idea that gay people should be in prison for existing, or trans people should be put in prison, or have their health care taken away, based on things that don't even happen, such as children being mutilated or brainwashed to be trans, as if you could actually do that, is that not a death threat? Here's another separate thing. You know, speaking of things that don't exist, things aren't happening, and this is the type of discussion that just distracts the human animal from the things that are really happening in the world, the things that really affect them directly when it comes to like the economy, human rights, the ability to just make a life for oneself. All right, let's bring this up here real quick. So there was a bill called the Furries Act brought to Texas regarding children and furries, or children acting as animals, and accommodations being made for them. Something that was never proven, something that never happened, and all of a sudden you don't hear that about that anymore. Was there ever any push for it to be stopped? Was there any laws that managed to get passed? No. Why is that? I thought it was an epidemic going throughout all these schools. What happened? What happened to these public schools? Where's all these children using the litter boxes? Where's the father that was... Where's the teachers that are using litter boxes in front of the students, as one person described? But, you know, let's just see an example here.
Can you name a school where it has been confirmed that students are using litter boxes?
Well, what we do with this bill is we prevent that from happening. But
prevent it from happening.
take out.
Can you name a school where it has been confirmed that students are using litter boxes? This was at the top of your press release. This was mentioned when you introduced this bill, created quite a stir. So I'm asking, can you name a school where it's been confirmed that there are litter boxes being provided to students?
For this purpose, no, I cannot.
Your tweet about this bill was flagged by the app itself under their community notes, and their fact check said sensationalist claims about furries literally behaving as animals and receiving accommodations such as litter boxes have been repeatedly debunked as hoaxes. Is that correct?
It was flagged on, what is it, community notes?
Okay. I find it concerning that these types of debunked conspiracy theories are being used by politicians at the highest levels of our government, including in this legislature, who know that they're incorrect. Are you aware that Governor Abbott said, quote, kids go to school dressed up as cats with litter boxes in their classrooms?
Sure.
Are you also aware that when the governor was asked by the Dallas Morning News to name a single school where this happened, he couldn't? And PolitiFact called this a pants on fire false claim.
Doesn't matter.
By online rumors.
It's about keeping you distracted, keeping
you. Think it's a good?
You know, it just. What's that human? Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon has a philosophy called flood them with bullshit, so that they can't keep up. It's the old the lie circles around the world twice before the truth gets its pants on. Because it's easy to make a declarative statement. It's make up something on the fly that isn't happening and say it's true. And you put the onus on other people to prove you wrong when you're in a position of power and you do that. People who do this, people who propose and act regarding something that's not even happening, that's proven to be a hoax, their political careers should be over. In a more just human-run society, people who do this should be committing political suicide. They should never be taken seriously ever again. They should never have a position of power or be able to seek any kind of office. And that's what should have happened with Charlie Kirk, and he would have been alive today if that happened. He would have been allowed to live, work in a normal working class job, just like the rest of the working class humans that go around and work. But nope, we can't have that. Instead, he was encouraged to spread hate, create a hostile environment for those who are don't align to the idea of what your life should be. And once again, it swallowed them up.
Use of our time to write laws based on debunked internet conspiracy theories.
Well, this isn't
say that again. A single school where a pants on fire false claim started by online rumors.
Okay.
Do you think it's a good use of our time to write laws based on debunked internet conspiracy theories?
Well, this isn't this piece of legislation before us covers that among other things.
Other things that
are true.
Are true. Like what?
My concern.
Why was that included then? Is there some way to get it under the radar? Is there some other things we should be concerned about? Why aren't we listing out all the other things?
That instead of holding a hearing about student mental health, instead of holding a hearing about school closures across Texas.
Well, you see, that would involve money interest being put in a position where they have to lose money to help other people that are not them. They don't want that. Elon Musk, the brilliant genius human, Elon Musk said it himself. When the population becomes poorer, they become more religious and easier to control. That is a quote from Elon Musk. If you do not believe me, you can look it up. If you do not believe me and you're just going to assume I'm lying, I don't know why you're here. I don't know why you're even here to like try to take anything. A cartoon lemur right here on the screen. You know, you really don't. If you're going to call me out and say that I'm a liar or whatever, then you really just demonstrate you do not care about what's real.
We are spending precious legislative time toward the end of this legislative session on a bill called the Furries Act.
And honestly, Representative Gertis, this whole thing is just weird and honestly a little creepy. And I think that's the point.
Yes.
Because this is all, in my opinion, a manufactured, debunked smear campaign against our Texas public schools. Governor Abbott has used this litter box room.
They want to privatize your schools and make it impossible for you to get a proper education so that they have dumber humans. I mean, already, the American human can't even read beyond a 5th grade level on average. And if you don't like hear that and think, oh, and also keep in mind that's an average. So half of the other humans are lower than that, if not outright illiterate or functionally illiterate. Do you not think that primes you to be taken advantage of? If you are someone who can't even properly read, that should, and you hear that. I mean, at least for a lemur such as myself, I heard that and I decided I'm going to read more books, even if it's just audiobooks, learn more about history, not just get your opinions from talking heads on the internet or on Fox News or CNN or any of these other billion-dollar companies, billion-dollar funded mouthpieces, such as your Joe Rogan that everybody loves now. Joe Rogan, who's supposed to be an underground act, and yet he gets to talk to the president? No, you're no longer underground if you get funding and get to talk to the president and get invited to the White House. That does not work. You're not underground.
To paint our schools in the worst possible light. He even used the litter box conspiracy theory to push his private school voucher bill. These culture war attacks are nothing more than an effort to discredit our public schools to justify defunding those public schools. Texas librarians are not grooming kids. Texas teachers are not indoctrinating kids.
It's only okay if Christians indoctrinate and groom kids with their churches and their superstitious beliefs and put them in the rape factories.
And Texas schools are not providing litter boxes. And I think
you think God, of all people, as powerful as he is, would prevent sexual assault happening in his temples and churches. And yet that's the place where they happen the most. Was that like some secret pact where it came to the leaders of the church? Is Catholicism just a front for child raping? I don't know. That's just an idea that popped in my head, considering how much rape goes on in these churches and youth pastors.
The most disappointing part about all this is that I think you know that.
Yes, he does. Oh, what's next in our little docket here? Oh, yes. So when the Minnesota happened, Minnesota assassin, you had a right-wing anti-gay preacher, Vance Luther Bolter, 57-year-old, wore a rubber mask, got to murder 2 Democratic representatives, including one of their dogs. I don't know what the fuck the dog did, but he murdered him. Because he's a fucking psychopath like that. And people like Charlie would make jokes about that. And a lot of people even labeled the shooter as left. Let's just pull that up here. Oh, looks like we're gonna have to reload. Well, that's nice to know. Assassination attempts are only happening in one direction. Just saying. Right. Who is this? Who is this again? Who did he murder? Yes. What's up? Oh. Here's a politician. Nightmare in Wall Street. Get it? Because Tim Walz was the governor? All this memorialization of Charlie Kirk, but these 2 Democrats, nah, they get nothing. When they were assassinated.
On Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged
news.
Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. He appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
Why waste time? That's how Donald Trump, your orange human, responds to political violence when it's done on the Democrats. George Floyd was killed years ago. People on the right still make jokes about him to this day. 3 months ago, Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband was killed. People on the right made fun of them, calling it Nightmare on Wall Street. But this crosses the line. Yeah. So making jokes about Charlie's death or whatever, that just crosses the line. Let's see. People call for his vaccination. Oh yes, this is what happens when Marxists don't get their way. Okay, so wait. A mildly liberal Democrat gets murdered compared to everyone else that's out there, and they went ahead and just declared it as right-wing, as left-wing anyways. Figure that one out.
Baby dead shortly. So I just want to let you know I love you guys both, and I wish it hadn't gone this way.
It still didn't have to go that way.
I don't want to say anything more and implicate you in any way, because you guys don't know anything about this. But I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused. He was a loving, caring guy,
Apparently not, because he called for the death of gay people and he murdered two political figures he didn't like. So no, he was not a loving guy.
Loved his family, loved his friends, and loved God.
As long as they weren't gay or black, probably.
I don't know why he did what he did.
Oh, we know.
It's not fans. No one will believe this. No one that grew up. He had lots of friends, trust me. I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, apparently he didn't have the right friends, apparently, huh? Loving, caring guy does not murder people. Yeah, well. Those are the ones that are worse. I don't know if I would say that. That's like some twisted version of the it's always the quiet ones. No. Loving, caring people are not the worst. That's usually like you're talking about someone who puts on a front. He had exceptions, the people he cared about. That was the thing. Like no human can be an asshole 24/7. And like no abuser is ever abusing 24/7. No, I'm sure a lot of Nazi racists have their loving families too. But, political violence is bad. But when is it bad?
Welcome back to Free Speech Friday, my series on the fight for free speech and civil liberties online. Today, I want to talk about political violence.
Charlie Kirk's murder is the latest high-profile example of political violence in the U.S.
The murder of Charlie Kirk is heightening concern about the rise in cases of political violence across the country.
Now we care about political violence.
Political violence has become all too common in American society, and
it is common for anyone not in charge of the country.
Is not who we are.
This is yet another example of the sad reality of rising political violence in our country.
A few months ago, I made a video called "Someone Needs to Do It" about the popular meme encouraging someone to finally Trump. I don't even need to have to say it. You know what I'm talking about. In that video, I talked about how asking the public to uphold norms while our entire government and everyone in power flouts due process on a near daily basis and never...
Yeah, what's the due process for a lot of these immigrant humans? This ICE organizations gaffling up and black bagging and disappearing. Where's that due process? Why they get to wear masks? Why they get to hide their identity?
holds themselves to the same standards is a farce.
I guess their political violence that they commit on people is just fine because they're brown.
I cited a research report that found that more and more Americans endorse direct political violence and are expressing a plummeting faith in our political system and democracy. Josh Citarella, a researcher who studies extremism, told me, quote, "The liberal project has basically failed. The enormous accumulation of wealth and power by oligarchs invalidates the rule of law. The end result is that you can theoretically have executions in the public square. That is what we're going back to." After Charlie Kirk was shot, every
Something
political
Charlie Kirk was
leader
in
and
favor
liberal
of.
pundit came out of the woodwork to condemn political violence. Charlie Kirk, who espoused some of the most violent, hateful ideology around, is already being treated as a martyr. Ezra Klein declared that while he and Charlie had their differences, you know, the whole black people and women are human beings who deserve rights thing, fundamentally they were, quote, on the same side. Trump said that he would award Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The Yankees flew their flag at half-mast, as did a slew of government buildings.
Yep, we're going to skip over here, though. I don't want to take away from our video. Great, I just had the spot where I wanted to be, and then it just jumped back over there. There it is. All right.
Standing Rock in 20. Look back at American history and see the state enact violence on our own citizens over and over and over and over again. I think a lot of what happened in Standing Rock in 2016, the government, under Obama, mind you, sent armored vehicles and a militarized police force to attack indigenous people who were defending their sacred land and water. Protesters were blasted with hot...
And this is a historically precedent. If you look through history, your indigenous people would often be forced to live on another plot of land, and then there would be a discovery of some resources, oil, gold, whatever, and they'd be forced to move again, despite having a treaty saying that they won't invade anymore. Go figure, right?
They had dogs set on them. People got concussions and other injuries. The media framed the event as clashes, but thankfully we were able to witness what actually happened as it was live streamed on Facebook. When the COVID pandemic hit, violence against marginalized people was fully normalized.
And here is how this works, right? The media, mainly liberal media, will downplay this event because it makes the constituencies look bad. It makes the party look bad optically. And it's something the conservative right wing love to see happen, though. So they don't want to make their boy or girl, whoever, look good to the opposition and to look bad to their supposed supporters.
Immigrants, people of color, and the poor were and are currently being sent into deadly workplaces with no airborne disease protections. Prisoners are being left to die of COVID-19 in overcrowded facilities with, again, zero airborne disease mitigations, even today. Joe Biden successfully convinced liberals and even leftists to completely devalue the lives of people around them to the point that, again, even leftists today believe that it's morally neutral to infect and kill or permanently maim those around you by infecting them with airborne disease because you don't want to wear a mask. Killing and disabling millions of Americans by encouraging the spread of an airborne vascular disease is also violence. In Atlanta in 2023, when activists protesting Cop City were stalked, arrested, and even killed, these pundits mourning political violence were nowhere to be seen. Manuel Tehran was shot and killed, and the state labeled them a domestic terrorist for peacefully resisting a police project. According to Mapping Police Violence, more than 1,000 people are shot and killed by the police every year, overwhelmingly people of color. When ICE raids rip apart families...
We call those, in the book Manufacturing Consent, there are qualifying victims and unqualified victims. Victims that matter and victims that do not. And these are victims that do not matter to our current party, the duopoly that's in charge, where economic interests are fairly aligned.
In the middle of the night, that is also police violence.
During the election you humans held with that Kamala person and Trump, not once was Atlanta's police city ever mentioned.
Since January
Georgia's
1st,
police state.
2017, at least 70 people have died in ICE custody. ICE detention facilities recorded 13 more deaths just in the first half of this year alone. And these figures are a massive undercount of the harm that ICE does. ICE will also release people shortly before their death, just so they're not counted as dying under ICE custody. Just last month, a man fleeing an ICE raid at Home Depot right here in Los Angeles was killed. The ACLU found that 95% of people's deaths under ICE detention were preventable. And then, of course, we have school shootings, which are completely normalized in this country. Almost the exact same time that Charlie Kirk was shot, students at Evergreen High School in Colorado were running for their lives from yet another school shooter.
And I remember when I was a young cub, like school shootings happened a lot in poor neighborhoods and schools, but didn't matter. Never even heard about it. Not until it happened in Middle America with Columbine. Now it's a tragedy. Now it's so sad to see, right?
And said that victims of gun violence were necessary political violence every day. And so the hand-wringing from people in power when someone like Charlie Kirk falls victim to that same violence just really rings hollow. It especially rings hollow when our country is in the midst of facilitating a genocide. As one Palestinian posted in the wake of Charlie's death, quote, "Sorry if I don't seem overly shocked. It's just that I've seen decapitated babies, shredded limbs, mangled and charred bodies, and much worse in Gaza for 23 months. As I've said previously, witnessing the most graphic and horrific war crimes imaginable in Palestine constantly, 24/7, via our phones, revealed the true violence of our country to the American public in a way that I don't think it ever had been before.
Yep.
Death.
Let's
Where
jump
is
over
that
here.
outrage when 100+ Palestinians are being killed with American weapons every single day? And this is the entire point, right? Thanks in large part to the internet and social media, people can quite literally see the hypocrisy of these people in power. All their mealy-mouthed statements do is reveal whose lives matter to them and whose lives don't. Dozens of Palestinian children shot in the neck are never mourned. Students shot in the neck by school shooters are not mourned. But
No, they're not qualified victims.
right-wing political commentator who defended those people's deaths is treated as a national hero. This hypocrisy was also on display after a millionaire for-profit insurance CEO, Brian Thompson, was murdered, allegedly by Luigi Mangione.
Yep, but they don't care. And I would say that a lot of people pretending to care about Charlie Kirk's death don't really care either. They just want their political motive. Let's see. Where is... we had it right around here. Oh, yes.
Systems and advocated for incredibly violent policies that have resulted. People in power remain comfortable in their elite bubbles, completely shielded from the material harm of the violent policies that they support. And I think this is why so many people feel schadenfreude about Charlie Kirk's death. He dedicated his life to upholding violent systems and advocated for incredibly violent policies that have resulted in people's deaths. And Kirk led a legion of millions of supporters who still support this violence. Before his body was even cold, far-right figures were calling for a war on trans people. These are the same people who spend all day online mocking vulnerable people's deaths and celebrating the killing of George Floyd or immunocompromised people dying or the death of a trans girl who jumped off a bridge. Elon Musk posted to his 225 million political violence in an Oval Office address. Sean Davis, the CEO and co-founder of The Federalist, posted on X, quote, "I hope that Trump also orders the extermination of the entire anarcho-terrorist network that has been terrorizing Christians in this nation unabated for more than a decade."
Ah, yes, the forever victim of Christians who are in charge of the country. They make all the laws. They have all the leaders. There isn't a single Democrat or Republican that's an atheist that's in charge of anything. Christians are somehow the victims. Sure.
As someone who's actually against violence, All of this is terrifying. As many have pointed out, this shooting is going to be used as a pretense to strip us all of our rights thing rings a little hollow when the government is already stripping all of us of our rights on a pretty much daily basis. They don't need Charlie Kirk's death to continually brutally oppress and murder minorities.
No, but it serves as a good cover now.
But it's disturbing how liberals are already manufacturing consent for this to happen. Several high-profile liberal influencers and media figures are already whitewashing Kirk's legacy and policy positions, framing him as an innocent father who, while they might have had some disagreements with, was fundamentally a good man.
Is this working on anyone? Is anyone out there just like believing that Charlie was a good man? Anyone out there that dumb? Any human out there that's stupid? I mean, just think about it. You're being outclassed by a cartoon lemur right now. I'm demonstrating more intelligence than you if you buy into that. If you believe that. Let's watch Charlie Kirk's anti-Semitic takes here, huh?
Is he talking about those guys who were yes? But here he is.
1 year ago.
Making a very interesting claim.
That's really what's going on here. And this is a wake-up call for many Jews. And I have sympathy for American Jews that are very confused. However, I have impatience for American Jews that have put up with the anti-white sentiments the last decade.
Yes, the anti-white sentiments.
And thought it was perfectly fine. Because guess what, American Jews? You're considered white in the eyes of the Marxists. What? I thought white meant like MAGA Christian people in Oklahoma. No, white means you too.
How? What is that? What do you mean? I want to know. Anyone who believes in Charlie Kirk here, you know, and his ideas, any human out there, what laws and policies exist that make it harder for white people to live? Is it gay marriage? Or is it corporations unwilling to pay a living wage and lobby against universal health care and universal basic income? Which is it? Which is it? What do you think is affecting you more negatively? Again, I want to know what laws and policies are directly affecting white people in a negative way. What's preventing you from having equal access to anything?
Welcome to the most hated class in America today.
Most hated class in America that's in charge of everything.
And Jews
who get to make death threats to people directly as public figures, in power. They get to make death threats. And nothing happens to them. They're somehow the most persecuted class in this country. With organizations such as ICE that's gaffling up brown people as we speak and putting them in a concentration camp. Like Guantanamo Bay or Alligator Alcatraz.
For a second. Now, I just want to weigh in here because I am Jewish and also white. And what he's talking about is complete BS. This is
Barbara's doing some
Let's see what we got here. Let's see the next take here.
Welcome to the most hated class in America today. And Jews are like, wait, I never thought I was white. I don't identify as white. We're Jewish.
It occurs to me, pause it for 1 second, that I thought anti-white racism was over when we elected a white president. Wasn't that a sign that...
Yeah. Let's not forget that. You know, racism was over when a black guy became president. A lot of people said that it was over until Barack Obama became president, and somehow racism came back. Depends who you talk to, right?
Exactly. Go ahead.
And Jews are like, wait, I never thought I was white. I don't identify as white. We're Jewish. You don't get to determine the rules. Many American Jews are shocked that the organizations and the charities that they have been subsidizing want them dead.
Pause it. I also would be shocked if that was the case. I'm not aware of any of those organizations or what he's talking about.
What organizations want Jewish people dead? Want white people dead? Which ones? The NAACP, was that one of their? Is there a proposed law? Is there a bill somewhere that just wants them dead? And why would they want them dead? Why is that? When they get treated so well.
That A, I'm not even aware of which ones he's talking about, but B, I am pretty sure none of them said that we want the Jews dead. I feel like it would be bigger news.
What have evangelical Zionists said about Jewish people? Like, not that they want them dead, but to, I guess.
Well, they want them all to.
Oh, there's plenty of conspiracies that denounce that deny the Holocaust. There's plenty of Christian conspiracies that not only deny the Holocaust, but they say that Jews control the media and the world and influence, and that's their fault that there's racism and division amongst us. Yeah, there's depending on who you talk to, again, but you know, it's tied back to Christianity for a lot of them too.
But let's continue.
That they have been subsidizing want them dead. This is cut 67. I think this is illegal, where they are forbidding Jewish students from going to class.
No.
That Jewish kids are being physically prevented from going to class. And I want to make sure this is clear. At the foundational level, this is at UCLA. This is coast to coast. It's because they hate Western civilization, and they have now looped all Jews into the white category. So now Jews are experiencing the hate that we white people have been experiencing the last decade, and we've been warning against. Hey, you know that there's like a lot of venom against white people because of the color of their skin? Ah, too bad. Floydapalooza, BLM, diversity is our strength. And now all of a sudden Jews are saying, this kind of feels like how we got to Auschwitz. This doesn't seem right.
Pause it for
and
a
I'm
second.
glad they're waking.
I just want to make it clear that nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying what he's saying that Jews are making. You know, every time you fill out one of those census forms as to like what your race is, there is no slot for Jews. They have all been putting white on that, unless they were also a different color or person of color or something to that effect. Everything he's saying, both the premise and the payoff, is a lie. It's just a lie.
And projection, like they're talking about like Israel as an outpost of Western civilization. Like when you see people say, Barnaby Ray in the
Yep. Just a little bit of anti-Semitism from Charlie there, that's all. You gotta love him taking Israeli government money, which Israeli's government is perpetuating anti-Semitism with their Zionist beliefs. That's what it is. But that's just how, that's how these humans work. What's on our docket here? Oh boy, yep. So this has been mentioned several times. Let's just get into this Colorado shooting. There's not much to know about it other than the fact that the person who did it, Desmond Holley, was a student there, said he died of a self-inflicted gunshot. Details on how the suspect was radicalized will be released at a later date. That's all I could find, unless there's something new on that. Do a quick search here. Let's see if there's anything that comes up. May have been radicalized. Was radicalized. It doesn't. I guess let's click on that. Extremist network. That's him. That's a victim. That's a victim he decided to shoot. Tried to find new targets and came up against a roadblock on many of those doors. He couldn't get to those kids. Suspect used a revolver handgun and he repeatedly fired and reloaded, which Kelly said went on and on. As the shooting went on, he was unable to access areas of the school that had gotten down and locked down. Let's see. Filled with white supremacist content. Oh, there you go. There's another white supremacist shooter. The same day Charlie Kirk got shot, for the most part. Posts exhibiting fascination with mass shootings and reposted videos that were explicitly anti-Semitic or depicted people in Nazi uniforms. Go fucking figure. Yet another human being in this environment. The only reason he wouldn't be a fan of Charlie Kirk is if he didn't go far enough. All right. What we got here? That comes later. Oh, yes. There's a video that I saw maybe 2 seconds of, and I knew that I needed to react to this. We're going to take a quick break here. This is it. Nope, this is it. Yep, this is it. Normal gays react to crazy LGBTs cheering Charlie Kirk's murder. No, say it ain't so. It's only good, it's only okay when the right wing does it. And then they'll be like, well, no, it's not okay when they do it. So can we please just condemn it? Okay, well. I better see you doing the same thing when it happens, right? At the very least. At least then I could say you have some principles. I somehow doubt it, though. I somehow doubt it. And it doesn't really fucking matter to me. Because, you know what? If it's a problem with you that we make light of Charlie Kirk's life and his death and whatever, then do it to me then, all right? There, that you can't get a fair deal in that. If it happens, whenever I drop off this mortal coil as a lemur, because I won't live nearly as long as any human does. I mean, look how long the Zabumafu lived. Or Zabu, yeah, that's his name. You have all the rights in the world to make jokes about me. But first, I'm going to take a little pee-pee break. I'll be right back. Enjoy a little bit of music here. When life gives you lemons. All right, PP is over. Let us get into normal gays with Brad Palumbo. All right. And they seem to be changing their thumbnail, because I swear it was different last time I looked at this.
Oh no, someone who wants me dead died. Anyway, I'm having a salad from Sweet Green. It's the Autumn Harvest Bowl. You got what you deserve. I'm sorry, you're a bad person. Bad things happen.
Why are you reacting with this soy face right here? Why? Prove to me that he didn't deserve it, all right? When you're calling for violence and violence happens to you, how is that shocked? How is that shocking? Why is there a call for empathy all of a sudden?
Happen to bad people, celebrate it.
Hey guys, welcome to Normal Gays, where we take on LGBT insanity.
LGBT insanity, having equal rights, wanting equal treatment, wanting not to be called upon to be killed. That's insanity.
I'm Brad Palumbo here with Clarkson Lawson. Yeah, this is going to be a little more somber. We are hopping on for an emergency episode. After the really disturbing shooting and killing of
a Nazi who called for the death of gay people, who was anti-Semitic, who was anti-black and anti-freedom, anti-human. I mean, you think a human would be pro-human, but no. Charlie was anti-human.
Charlie Kirk, the right-wing influencer.
White nationalist.
Clarkson, I know you've been following this for hours like I have.
I mean, I was at the gym when it happened, and I just decided to...
Do you remember where you were when the Charlie Kirk got shot?
Open my phone or open X, and then it's like the first thing you see is that young girl who was stabbed on the train, and then 2 minutes later I hit refresh and I'm watching.
Yep, it's on, and that's another example too of selective outrage, where the victim has to be a qualified victim. In this case, was a white woman that got stabbed by a mentally ill man on a train, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the failing of the judicial system," and I would agree, it is a failing of the judicial system. A judicial system that focuses on petty, childish revenge rather than reform, and this is the end result. Because guess what? When you commit an assault, when you commit an act of violence that doesn't result in permanent injury or death, you're going to get let out. And this person was let out because you can't hold a person forever just for committing assault. According to some of these people, that's exactly what should have happened. He was in and out of jail almost over a dozen times. It's like, maybe the way we do jail is not working. Maybe we should focus more on reform. No. It's better to get more violent, more cruel. That'll fix it.
Watching a video of Charlie Kirk get shot in the neck, and it's gruesome.
All right, hold on. We're in the middle of something here. I gotta do something real quick.
It's very hard to watch and not have like a visceral, very human.
Oh yeah, seeing a human die is pretty good.
But covering the internet and covering social media, you can guess what happened.
Unless you're a cub like me who grew up with the unfiltered internet, and I had the privilege of witnessing humans getting killed, and you get desensitized to it. And Charlie Kirk had no problem with public executions. Apparently, he had no problem with calling on the death of gay people.
I will say that, like, most mainstream liberals and Democrats put out statements immediately denouncing this.
Of course, your fucking typical bullshit of soft, limp dick whitewashing of Charlie Kirk and his beliefs. Be like, oh no, this so sad he's dead.
The Newsoms, your Kamala Harris's, your Joe Bidens, they don't support this. But the online left-wing fringe is bloodthirsty, low-key.
Bloodthirsty. Okay, sure. Who was calling for Charlie Kirk's death? Was it no one? Yeah, it was no one.
So, can you guess what
do we have to bring up those tweets again that we went earlier in this show, earlier in this stream here? Do we have to bring up those tweets? Do we? I mean, come on. They're calling for the death of the supposed leftists that were responsible for the shooting. These people are full of shit. These are a couple of pick-me's here that think they're going to be spared the oven if people like Charlie Kirk have their way.
But I went to look on Blue Sky, the hell site,
as opposed to Twitter, the Nazi site, Stormfront's new home base, Twitter.
I went to the account of a transgender YouTuber with more than 200,000 subscribers named Jesse Gender.
Hey, Jesse Gender.
Can
I
you
like Jesse
guess
Gender.
what was being said over on that Blue Sky account, Clarkson?
Jesse Gender.
Jesse Gender,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm gonna guess Charlie Kirk's opinions on which bathroom Jesse should use is her or his justification.
Oh, are we going to be transphobic too, you fucking worthless piece of shits? This whole bathroom conflict that was manufactured by your conservative right wings. You're not going to admit that, though. You're not going to admit that it was contrived. That no one had a problem with trans people using bathrooms in a way to speak in the 90s, early 2000s, and it's just an invention. They were the next target. Once gay bashing became out of fashion, trans people were the next target. And these normal gays, if they were alive in the 90s, they're on this platform, and this platform existed, there would be a restriction on their ability to access this platform, and let alone be on it, let alone to find success on it. They would not be able to be safe.
I don't know. You can only allude or come to one specific conclusion when it comes to to that type of YouTuber.
Yeah, so I'll read you this first post. There is no place for political violence in this country, say the politicians using legislation and rhetoric to attack trans people, immigrants, women, and BIPOC daily. Just because it's done with a pen and not a gun doesn't mean it's not political violence. Hypocrites, not that they care.
Completely correct. They should agree. If they're not, they're idiots. Let's find out.
So apparently rhetoric that hurts people's feelings or
Nope, it gets them killed, you stupid fuck. When you go around and say gay people are less than human, they should be stoned to death, and some gay person gets shot in the face by some neo-Nazi piece of shit, and they're inspired by your words, you are culpable to some degree. If I go around saying that, Christians are demonic, anyone who says they're a Christian deserves the death penalty, if I say that, and someone goes and puts a cap in someone's ass, how am I not culpable? Because these same people here would be saying I'm culpable of that. Right? Correct. Am I right or am I correct? Let me know.
You disagree with are now akin to...
Yeah, you don't get to disagree with my existence, all right? If you say I don't deserve to live in the same level as you do, then you're just evil. I mean, let's be real. You're evil.
Violence, akin to the video we saw of a bullet going through Charlie Kirk's neck. Yeah, that's insane.
Just because it's not done with a pen doesn't mean it's not violence. No, actually, that's exactly why it's not violence.
It is violence. When it leads to violence, that is a violent act. It's a credible death threat, depending on what it is. Dumb fuck. These clean-cut, privileged little queer boys. These little tools that think they're going to be spared the ovens if the right wing get their way. The right wing who wants to roll back their marriage rights. Not that they probably even care. They're probably loaded enough that they don't have to worry about that.
Because violence has a definition, and violence is violence. It's not just things that you don't like. I'm sorry that, maybe you live in Florida and you have to have a specific thing on your driver's license that doesn't align with your gender identity. Sure, that's a disagreement, but does it warrant murder?
No.
I think you can very easily say no here, and I can promise you.
No, it's just that you shouldn't be sad about it. Don't be argued into having sympathy for Nazis. All right, don't be tricked. Hey, this is coming from a fucking lemur here. All right, don't be tricked into having sympathy for people who want you dead. It's sad. It really is sad and pathetic. This is the kind of legacy these two want to have. With his fucking weird ass eyes and his weird face. And no, I do not give a shit about making fun of someone's looks. It's on the fucking table. It always is. I don't give a shit about that.
And I said this on my Instagram, most of these people who are supporting this or making snarky comments about it, they have conservative relatives, conservative fathers, grandfathers, cousins that are most likely just as or more radical than Charlie Kirk. So if your justification for murder is that they hold this...
No one was saying it was justified. It was that it's not, you don't have to be sad about it. All right? Get the fucking shit in order.
Set of opinions, then you're essentially justifying the murder of half the country.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is that you can't have this.
You didn't. Everyone can have the opinion that they want. Anyone can spew the stupid shit that they want. But Charlie Kirk got to have money for his opinion. He got to be boosted. He got to be friends with the president. He got to push rhetoric to young kids and take advantage of their ignorant minds. To the point where he got laws being passed against trans people being able to live on the same level as everyone else. It's fucking evil, disgusting bullshit. And people like you are encouraging it. You're enabling it.
kind of thing one way. I always condemn political violence.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Whether it was the attempted assassinations of Trump, whether it was the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, the murdering of those Democrat lawmakers and state lawmakers a couple months ago, anything, I always condemn it. But you can't have it just against the people you dislike. So
it's not about the people you just simply dislike. We're talking about people that want you dead. People who threaten you with violence, that have violence brought onto them, are fucking asking for it at that point. No one of note was calling for violence against Charlie Kirk, because most people who are politically aware, especially leftists, know better than to commit an act of violence against a mouthpiece, against a tool, against a millionaire funded by billionaires.
So the same exact twisted, tortured logic, well, they did policy violence against me by having all the beliefs and ideas I disagree with.
Our policy and belief is that you shouldn't have equal access to facilities based on your made-up gender status, because gender is a social construct. Gender and sex are two different things, according to the human science and studies over the years. That's besides the point. You have a policy that says you can't be married, you can't have a job, or, you work your way back to the point where you can't feel safe. Yeah, that is political violence against you. So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to roll over and take it? You're supposed to be like, oh no, please don't hurt me. Is that going to change their mind? Did it change their mind all the way up until the Stonewall riots? Did it take a riot started by a trans person to start rolling in the gay rights? Or was it gay people laying low? Gay humans laying low in the underground? Was that how they got their rights? You stupid fucking morons. Fucking brain dead. Look at these empty-headed, privileged pieces of shit who've been pampered, milk-fed their entire lives, who never knew a day without a fucking fat meal. They're going to come on here and tell you that you should be sad that a fucking piece of shit got murdered.
Could be 1000% used to kill the people that you like, Jesse Gender. Could be policy violence against me by having all the beliefs and ideas I disagree with. Could be 1000% used to kill the people that you like, Jesse Gender. Or frankly, even, and I would never support this, to justify violence against you for the positions that you've taken. I would never wish such a thing. I would totally condemn it. But if you want to play this stupid game of, well, the people who disagree with me and have the opposite extreme views are doing violence with their legislation and their rhetoric.
They are. They're encouraging violence against people. They're the reason why hate crimes are a thing. Dumb fuck.
They can say that about you and justify atrocities. Like, you do not want to open this Pandora's box.
They already did. They've been doing that for hundreds of years. How many years? What do you think life was like as a queer person in the early 1900s, 1920s, 30s, 50s, especially 50s, when they started labeling you as a pedophile by default? That you're going to somehow spread the gay as a mental disease? What is that? What is that? Huh? Would you be sad if some cop who gay bashed your brains in happened to get hit by a bus the next day? Would you be sad about that? My thoughts is you wouldn't be. My thoughts is you'd be like, good. Fucking abuser's gone.
but it's been opened in American history in the last few years. And I don't know, man, I'm really worried.
I know. I'm starting to think like, because I really try to understand why it is that people don't. I don't know that they're just okay with this type of expression of their humanity. But I think what it comes down to is that they don't have the foresight to understand that it can come back to bite them. And truly, I think if they understood that and that it will come back to bite them, they might hold back on their opinions. We used to have that mutual understanding that there has to be some sort of civility with politics or else it can turn very bad. But I think we've kind of lost the intellectual capacity to understand that.
Yeah, and also the dehumanization is really severe. So it's like,
yeah, I know Charlie Kirk dehumanized a lot of people, didn't he? Jews, blacks, gay people.
They don't think about Charlie Kirk as a person, as a father of 2 young children who are going to grow up without a father. Like, they just think of him as the guy who trolls on Twitter or says things that hurts their feelings. Like, there really is, and you'll see this in the opposite direction. You'll see dehumanization from right-wing rhetoric, but it's like, we need to remember our common humanity. And I think people lose sight of that. And once you lose sight of it, you can start justifying all sorts of atrocities.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that if something were to happen to, a right wing or a left wing figure, that there would be the same type of small amount of comments coming from the right.
Small amount of comments. Yep, as we saw earlier when it came to those comments on Twitter, right? When they just assumed the shooter was trans and leftist.
Because everybody has their radicals, but like, I don't know. It's just seeing how flippant. Even I've gotten DMs from my own mutuals that are like, "Why do you care?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, because I don't support murder gleefully." Like, I feel like that's a fairly simple response. Safe to say they're no longer my mutuals, because I don't get it. Like, how is it so widespread that maybe it's just because we're all chronically online, so you have to detach from your humanity in order
You mean like Charlie Kirk had no humanity for anyone that wasn't him?
to be okay with it?
Maybe
like
they don't go outside. Maybe they only interact with people over a screen. So it's like
you guys do.
There's a layer of separation that contributes to dehumanization. I don't know.
You privileged rich fucks just by looking at you. I mean, how much makeup do you have on you? Who does your hair? Fucking mouthpieces for the oppressors. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna, even though I'm a cartoon lemur, and pretty much I should have full reign of every kind of slur that exists on your human species. But I think Uncle Tom is a term that would be used if these two were a couple of black guys talking about how it was okay that that they should be celebrating the death of some bigot. That black people need to get their act in order when it comes to black crime.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like psychologically speaking, you have to dehumanize Charlie in this instance, because if you don't, then you have to come to terms with the fact that you're just sick and you support murder.
You mean like how Charlie Kirk supported murder? Right. Okay.
Speak loudly across the aisle, across political and ideological and religious and LGBT or not LGBT, and say with one voice, this is not who we are in America. We do not solve our differences with bullets. We solve.
But his supporters do. Supporters of Charlie Kirk do. All right, I'll be back. I gotta take a little trip here real quick. Enjoy some vibes. Enough of these doofuses.
This search to feed a reminder of what's inside of me and all the things that I have done to you across the span of time. From your point of view, I'm the antithesis of all that's true. So hate me, berate me, now face me. You'll taste my curse, despise me, decry me, deny me, the sweet embrace of death. This crimson blood rests upon my lips, warm and comforting, just like a demon's kiss, a slave to hate. All humanity, what defines a man besides his penchant for secrecy? So hate me, berate me, now face me. You'll taste my curse, despise me, decry me, deny me, the sweet embrace. So hear me now clearly, don't fear me. I'm just like you, so hollow. We wallow, not follow. Our destinies are bound until the end of time. We're brothers because we're still fighting for blood. All these lives I've claimed, it's my nature, you're the same. A universe of secrets that I've taken to the grave. Time and time again, with no soul to be saved. Eons ago, I was human too. I knew how to love, and I had things to prove. My pain was pride, and I faltered well into the abyss. And in this hell I dwell forever. Hate me, berate me, now face me. I'm just like you, so hollow. We wallow, I follow. Our destinies came here, and all that you hold dear will crack and fall. Don't fight this, it's useless, so fruitless. Your destiny is mine.
All right, we're back. Had a bit of a errand to run there real quick. Oh. Jump scare with these human faces. So yeah, they got the sentiment all around, of course. Okay. Got a few last things here. So a friend of mine sent me this wolf. This wolf. Yep, this wolf indeed. ComradeWulf made this video not too long ago. Sent me this to go over. Fascism vaccine. So we're going to take a look at that. Take a listen.
When you debate Nazis on a stage, you...
Oh, of course. Okay, there it is. It's had to reload, I guess.
When you debate Nazis on a stage, you platform them. When you punch Nazis, you teach them that fascism is not welcome here. If you meet violence with a handshake, you allow it to proliferate. You block it with as much violence as they give, and you'll find that these bigots are weak and they will fold. Charlie only got this powerful because people forgot what our grandparents fought and died for in World War II, what the world fought and died for. The rise of the new Nazi movement is because people refuse to meet the moment and stand up equally to these bigots. The marketplace of ideas, an invention in the 1920s by elite wealth holders, is a lie to allow evil, baseless, and destructive lies to be allowed to proliferate and stand next to actual scientific facts, data, and reality. By allowing such lies to stand next to reality and giving it a public platform, we poison the minds of everyone. We create a plague that spreads from person to person, mind to mind, until reality itself is called the lie. Anyone who stands for truth and justice, a liar, traitor, or terrorist. And in the end, no one remembers what the original lies were. Lies against reality, against the innocent, and against the workers should be met with as much dismissal backed up with violence as the evil intentions of the liars and the wealthy elites that pull their strings. The liars have no intentions of fair play. If they did, they wouldn't be liars and puppets. They act only in bad faith to achieve their end goals. What is the goal? To enrich themselves at the expense of everyone else at any cost. That cost includes you and the lives of your family. They are selfish, greedy, and evil. They cannot be reasoned with, as they wish to spark a debate to spread their ideas in violence. They can only be shown that the people they wish to victimize will not allow themselves to be the victims. This, my comrades, is the only vaccine for the plague of fascism.
Now that is some powerful stuff.
bitch!
I wonder if this is even true. I just thought it was interesting. Meme coins inspired by Charlie Kirk narrative. The assassination of Charlie Kirk has sparked a surge of meme coins inspired by Charlie Kirk's narrative, leveraging themes of justice and remembrance on the Solana blockchain. So a bunch of scam artists are seeking an opportunity here to grift some money out of some dumbass conservative humans. Kirk Justice. How many of these are going to be rug pulls? My guess is all of them. All it takes is one to take off, and a bunch of people buy high and then lose big. Oh, you gotta love. There's no bottom when it comes to the human animal stupidity. All right, I think we're almost done as far as anything coverage here. All the coverage here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, let's see what some of the reactions here in the shorts. Let's see how many of these are reasonable and not assuming that it's a leftist.
Are we going to do something, or are we going to argue over rhetoric? The assassination of Charlie Kirk risks an uncorking of political chaos and violence that we cannot risk in America.
Right, that's why we shouldn't platform Nazis such as Charlie Kirk, and humans like him should not have funding. Where are all these Visa, MasterCard money changers when it comes to hate speech and calling the death of gay people and saying black people don't deserve the civil rights movement? Where are these money changers there? No. Instead, they go after sex workers and people who draw porn. No, they go after those people instead. Humans are backwards a lot, in a lot of ways. Yeah, man, how do you allow these types of people to be in charge for this to happen?
I'm just going to state the obvious here. This is detestable, what's happened. Political violence has become all too common in American society.
No, it's a problem. Wasn't a problem for the last 50 years.
And this is not who we are.
In this country, we have the First Amendment. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot and killed.
What if you speak your mind and it's about how a certain group of people should just be killed and eliminated? Isn't that not a death threat? Is that not a threat against your life? Especially when they give the wink and nod to their followers who don't have as much to lose as their dear leader does.
All of us have got to work together and de-escalate the hate and the rhetoric in this country.
What did Charlie Kirk do to do that? Was it when he was calling for the stoning gay people? Was that his way of de-escalating the situation in this country? When he's talked about DEI, basically replaced the N-word with DEI? Was that his way of de-escalating the situation and the political situation in your human America?
And remember, we're Americans, and you can disagree in a way that doesn't end in a horrible way today, did.
Yeah, well. So this is what Charlie Kirk wanted. Alright. Let's lighten the mood. This has all been misery and dark and depressing. Let's do something that Charlie Kirk would definitely be supportive. But that is free speech. As in, pulling up some memes regarding his death. Alright? Maybe this makes you a problem. You have a problem with this. You know what? If I die, you have every right to make fun of my death. Alright? Look at me. I'm a lemur. I'm a talking lemur who thinks he's like sophisticated with a disheveled suit and tie. My species is going to be extinct within the next 90 years, if not sooner, the way things are going. So you won't even have any of me left. So, tit for tat, right? At least if people are making fun of me, people like me, or animals like me, I should say, they're not going around killing people. All right. Let's get started here. Let's get some music. Let's get some music. Wordless music. Nah, fuck that. We don't need that shit. All right. Oh. There we go. Dear conservatives, you claim to be pro-life, pro-free speech, yet you removed this meme, thus impinging my God-given rights. Curious. It's unfortunate I couldn't find anything that was better than this quality. It's kind of deep, fat, fried JPEG, but bait and switch. This Epstein thing, it won't die. Gonna need you to take one for the team, Mr. Kirk. Charlie Kirk played stupid games, win stupid prizes, champion 2025. And there's our classic. There's our classic small face. Dear liberals, if gun violence is so bad, why am I dead? Charlie Kirk, it's worth to have a cost of unfortunately some gun deaths every year so that we can have the Second Amendment. Can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term and it does a lot of damage. Pronouns, was, were. And I did find it amusing that someone tried to point out, like, those are improper words, the way they're being used. And it's like, this is coming from the crowd that came up with the joke. My pronouns are kiss my ass. My pronouns are get a job. Alright? So, go fuck yourself. Claims to be pro-life, dies. Yeah, what's your pro-life now? That look when you realize that no one is ever going to forget about the Epstein files. Yep. Only a matter of time, Donald. Better hope there isn't a hell. Trump when Stephen Miller explained that having Charlie Kirk killed and successfully distracted everyone from Epstein. I get it now. Debate this. That's a great shirt. I hope someone makes a shirt out of me if I get killed in a gruesome fashion. That'd be pretty funny. And you'd be like, oh, well, your loved ones would be upset. Yeah, they would be. They probably would be. But you know what? I'd be dead. So it doesn't matter what I think at that point, because I won't be thinking at all. I'll be dead. So, you know, I would love someone to make a t-shirt out of me. I mean, look at me. I'm cute. I'm a little lemur with a torn up tie and a beat up suit. Come on. You know you want a t-shirt of this. Even if it's just my decapitated head. Politics was bro's only choice. Look at that smile. Holy shit. It's gotta be exaggerated, right? It can't be real. Oh, it is real. Jesus Christ. He's like one of those 3D models that you turn the percentage up to 300%. Florida governor, we need a quick death penalty prosecution. I don't want to seek this to take forever. We need justice. Yes. That's how you do it. You kill the person that murdered and that unmurders them, as we stated earlier. Where's all the justice for the gay and trans people you caused the deaths of, Ron DeSantis and the harassment? What about their justice? What about all the black people killed by cops? Immigrants being gaffled up? No, crickets, of course. Yeah, no one's got to say anything about that. Because they're fucking cowards and they're useless. Worth it to preserve the Second Amendment. Alright. A little grand finale here. Fray the Chaos Wizard graced us with a painting of his own. Let me just bring up his channel here, because I don't want to not give him due credit. Whoops. His channel's gone! Into the Fray. He allows me to share this as long as I have this statement with it. So, do that right now. Oh, well, it helps to put the painting up. Doot. I'm reluctant to share this, and this is a statement from the Fray, the Chaos Wizard. I'm reluctant to share this for fear that it might be taken as a celebration of violence. So I won't yet share it with social media, but I'll share it here. The piece is entitled Prison of Blood. Political violence always threatens to become myth. Assassinations don't stop at the bullet. They are replayed, rebranded, and sanctified by narratives that grow larger than the victim. Martyrs are made, movements are fed, and the public is asked to look upon bloodshed as a kind of currency. There you have it. Couldn't have said it better than myself. Wow, barely say it at all, apparently. All right. That concludes everything I have in regards to the situation. Hopefully we never have to talk about this person, this human, ever again. And just like Rush Limbaugh, they'll be forgotten within the year, if not sooner. You know, better than a bunch of people making memes and making fun of each other than killing each other, right? All right. Well, I'm Michael Ringtail. This has been Human Watch. Thanks for stopping by. Check out other things that we have going on here. We got our other channel, Crafty Arts. We got, well, this channel, WeirdZoRs. We also have our little gaming channel. We do live streams every day during the weekdays. We got a little store here, Crafty Andy Arts. You can get some comics, some stickers, some art prints. It's all up there. All right, well, with that, we're out of here. Good night, humans.